And it's a naturally occurring amino acid. It's found in tea leaves and is a game changer for promoting that calm without actually causing sort of, drowsiness. And think of it kind of like, I love my analogies. Think of it kind of like a traffic controller for your child's brain. It keeps everything sort of moving smoothly, even during rush hour. And what's fascinating is how it actually works. Now, L-Theanine influences brain neurotransmitters by boosting alpha brain wave activity, which is associated with that state of relaxed alertness. Welcome to the Soaring Child Podcast, where parents of children with ADHD learn tips and tricks to help their child soar at home, at school, and in life. We feature interviews with experts, medical professionals, and parents just like you who are learning how to reduce ADHD symptoms using food and other natural strategies. Because children with ADHD deserve to soar just like every other child. I'm Dana Kay, your host. Hello, parents, and welcome back to another edition of the Soaring Child Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Kay. I am your ADHD health practitioner, and I am a board certified health and nutrition practitioner. What's my mission? Okay. My mission is to help families of children with ADHD thrive in life using natural remedies and practical solutions. Every family that has a child with ADHD, there should be hope for them. And I know that is possible for their child to thrive. And so today I just wanted to start with a little story. You know that the stories. A mum recently told me that her son, Ethan, who was struggling with sleep and focus. And she had tried everything, like most of us have. All of you listeners on the podcast, I'm sure, have tried various things. She tried various supplements, essential oils, white noise, but nothing seemed to work. And then she introduced something. She introduced L-Theanine. She introduced it to his routine, and she actually described the change as night and day. Ethan was calmer, he was more focused, and he actually fell asleep without hours of bedtime battles. And that's the kind of transformation that we're talking about today. This week on the podcast, we're continuing our series on supplements for ADHD. And these are short, sharp, and practical episodes that are really designed to fit right into your busy life. Because let's face it, parents like us don't have time for all the fluff. Now, if you've missed earlier episodes, don't worry. We've got links to our discussions on Saffron and on GABA in the show notes. And yes, there are downloadable cheat sheets for each of these episodes. So grab those. They're your sort of quick reference guide to everything that we're covering. Now, let me ask you something. Okay. Does your child struggle with focus or restlessness? Maybe they find it hard to wind down at night. If you answered yes to any of these, then you'll definitely want to stick around for today's discussion on L-Theanine. So go and grab your coffee, better yet, actually, a warm cup of green tea to match today's topic. And let's dive in to the topic at hand, L-Theanine. Now, if you're wondering, how on earth do I pronounce L-Theanine? Don't worry. You are not alone. By the end of this episode, you'll definitely not only know how to say it, but also why it's such a game changer. If you've ever sipped on green tea, you've already experienced L-Theanine, okay? That's L-Theanine in action. It is an amino acid that is found in green, black, and white teas, plus it can be taken in supplement form. It has these sort of relaxing properties without actually making you feel drowsy. And it can be used to make you feel calmer. It can improve your attention span and your focus, and it can support restful sleep. It can also help protect the heart and the brain, which is what we want to do, plus help to regulate blood pressure and reduce symptoms of schizophrenia. And it's a naturally occurring amino acid. It's found in tea leaves and is a game changer for promoting that calm without actually causing sort of, drowsiness. Think of it kind of like, I love my analogies. Think of it kind of like a traffic controller for your child's brain. It keeps everything sort of moving smoothly, even during rush hour. And what's fascinating is how it actually works. Now, L-Theanine influences brain neurotransmitters by boosting alpha brain wave activity, which is associated with that state of relaxed alertness. So imagine your child sitting at the kitchen table, calmly working through their homework, no fidgeting, no frustration. That's the power of L-Theanine. Now, as you probably already know, ADHD often comes with challenges like difficulty focusing, restlessness, and trouble sort of managing emotions. And L-Theanine can be a tool in your ADHD toolkit, helping to sort of balance the brain and promote that calm, that focus, that emotional regulation. And I just want to explain why I personally think it stands out. So it can provide calm without the crash. Or, if you say it another way, it can provide relaxation without sedation. Your child can sort of feel calm and focus without losing energy or alertness. And I think one of the fears many parents of kids with ADHD experience is that they might lose their child's spunk sort of in the process of trying to calm their bodies. This is what happened to my son. When he was put on medication, he was, he lost his spunk. Parents, they want their kids to be themselves, of course, but just a tiny kind of calmer version of it. Not a zombie version, which again, my son was a zombie version when he was on medication. So L-Theanine can often provide that to parents. It can also improve focus and concentration by modulating key neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. L-Theanine can help your child stay engaged and complete tasks more easily. Now, another key feature of L-Theanine, it might promote better sleep quality by helping to regulate sleep cycles, which really sort of it paves the way for restless nights. Now, this is definitely a huge benefit because many families of kids with ADHD really sort of struggle with that bedtime. Finally, another benefit of L-Theanine is that it may reduce stress and anxiety. And many kids with ADHD experience this heightened stress in their body and in their life. And so L-Theanine really helps them sort of stay cool and collected, even in sort of overwhelming situations. Now, keep in mind, L-Theanine isn't a cure for ADHD, but it may help kids who experience high levels of anxiety and restlessness or difficulty concentrating on tasks or trouble sort of winding down or falling asleep, or those that have that emotional dysregulation, those outbursts or challenges with that regulation. So you're probably wondering, well, how do you know if it is a good fit? You got to think about your child's sort of unique needs. While it's not sort of like a one-size-fits-all solution, L-Theanine could be a valuable part of their sort of ADHD management plan, especially if they struggle with any of the things that I just mentioned. Like all supplements, L-Theanine has its advantages. It also has its limitations. So I think, why don't I sort of list out the pros and cons? Let's start with the pros. The benefits of L-Theanine. First of all, it's safe, it's natural, and it has minimal side effects. Biggest plus in my mind. It also works synergistically with other supplements like GABA for those enhanced benefits. And as I already mentioned, it supports sleep, focus, and calmness without that sedative effect. But what about the downsides? Are there cons as well that we need to keep in mind? It's important to remember that L-Theanine, like all supplements, is not a standalone solution. A healthy diet, As I always say, and a healthy lifestyle are still so crucial. And as I always say, you can't supplement your way out of a poor diet. Now, it's also important to remember that not all children respond the same way to L-Theanine. It's generally considered safe when taken in supplement form, but research does suggest that L-Theanine can actually lower blood pressure. Okay, so always be sure to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements, especially if you are on ADHD medication, one in particular that also affects their blood pressure, being Intunival, guanfacine. Now, if you're wondering which L-Theanine supplement is best, I want to tell you about one of my favorites. This particular supplement actually combines L-Theanine and GABA together. And so it really sort of creates this sort of synergistic effect to support all of those benefits, like that relaxation, that focus, and that emotional balance. What's more, it comes in a kid-friendly liquid form. It makes it super easy for kids who have that difficulty swallowing pills. You can get it through the ADHD Thrive Institute's online store. It's rigorously tested for safety and efficacy. And, as I told you the story earlier, I've seen it transform families' lives. So if you're curious, you'll find a link in the show notes to learn more. Now, you might be wondering, are there natural ways to boost L-Theanine without using supplements? And this is such a great question. This, before jumping straight into supplements, I would definitely recommend you consider natural sources as well. And the best natural way to obtain L-Theanine is to drink several cups of quality green tea and other teas every day. But do be mindful of the caffeine, okay? Especially for kiddos. Additionally, mindfulness and meditation practices can actually amplify L-Theanine's calming effects as well, which is amazing. Combine the two. It's also a fantastic tool for calming and focusing benefits without those unwanted side effects. So whether you use natural sources like I just mentioned, or high quality supplements like the one I've listed in the show notes, it's worth exploring for sure. But remember, supplements are just one piece of the ADHD management puzzle, or as I like to say, the pie. And for those tuning in that haven't heard me talk about the pie, maybe you need to go back and listen to all the other episodes on the Soaring Child podcast. No, I'll tell you about the pie. I always say that raising a child with ADHD is like baking a pie. We've got to find all these ingredients to make a good pie. Look, it doesn't need to be the most amazing pie. We just need to produce a good pie. And so some of those ingredients are things like a balanced diet, proper sleep, outdoor time, exercise, those sort of things, and a nurturing lifestyle for that strongest foundation. So, and then one of those other ingredients in that good pie is supplementation. So that is it, guys. If you found today's discussion helpful, share this episode with other parents who might benefit. And don't forget to grab your cheat sheet and subscribe to the podcast to stay updated. Listeners, as always, I'm Dana Kate, your ADHD health practitioner. Until next time, remember, small steps lead to big changes. See you next week for another episode of the Soaring Child Podcast. Keep on thriving. Thank you for listening to the Soaring Child Podcast today. To learn more about how to help your child with ADHD soar using natural strategies, visit our website at adhdthriveinstitute.com and follow us on social media at ADHD Thrive Institute.